सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So Atma and Anatma Vastu Vivek is what the teacher is picking up over here, Shankaracharya ji, from Shloka 72 onwards. He is picking up Atma, Anatma, Vastu, Vivek. So, in order for one to clearly understand the not self and the self, Shankaracharya ji starts with the not self. The not self is anything which is within our realm of perception. The gross body is the grossest most, and we start with the understanding of gross body. Majjasti medaf palarapta charma tvagahvayair dhatu bhireviran aranvitam padoruvaksho bhujaprushthamastakaihi angairupangairupaयुक्तमेतत् aham mameti prathitam shariram मोहास्पदं स्थूलमितीर्यते बुधैः नभो नभस्वद्यः नाम्बुभूमयः सूक्ष्माणि भूतानि भवन्ति तानि. So in shloka number 72, Majja, Asthi, Medaha, Pala, Rapta, Charma, Tvag. So all of these over here are talked about over here. So Majja, Majja is none other than bone marrow. Asti, bone. Then Meda is fat. Then Pala, flesh. Rakta, blood. Charma is dermis. And Tvag is the epidermis. So these are the 7 layers with which the body is made. So we have learned about, the Sapta Dhatu is talked about. So over here, that's what it is. So, Tvag Ahvathai, Ahvayaihi Dhatu, Dhatubihi. So, with these ingredients, Dhatubihi, Anvitam is composed. So, with these ingredients, Dhatubihi, these various parts, components, ingredients, whatever we want to say, it is composed of that. Pado ruvaksho bhuja prushta mastakaihi. Padaha, none other than feet. Then Padaha, bhuja, thighs. Then vaksha, vakshasthana, chest. Then bhuja, the shoulders, shoulders with arms over there. Then prushtha, back, and mastakaihi, mastakai, head. So with this, angaihi upangaihi, and there these different various parts, the body is made. Angaihi upangaihi yuktame upayuktam etat. This body is made up of. So the parts are enumerated, and then the inside, going from the innermost marrow all the way up to the outermost, which is the epidermis, the outside skin. In this way, anvitaihi, they are composed of the body. The entire body is composed of the 7 ingredients, and then the various parts from feet, thighs, chest, shoulders, head, back, etc. All of them are nothing much to it. This is what is over here. Aham mama iti prathitam shariraha mohaspadam sthulamitiryate budhaihi. Budhaihi, wise people declare this. What is it that the wise people say? Aham mama iti prathitam shariram. See, the very inner self, which we will come to study in here, the jiva is in closest proximity with this gross body. At least with the pratyaksha. The very pratyaksha praman of seeing it, experiencing it, feeling it, smelling it, tasting it, touching it, all of these 5 senses of perception, we can clearly see this body. So when we are in continuous close proximity of this equipment, the superimpositioning happens. And the superimpositioning is, I am conscious being. So I superimpose consciousness onto this body and I say, the body is alive. And the body is actually jada. So the jadatva is superimposed onto this chaitanya, and I feel, I am limited, I'm going to die. Even though I am chaitanya, the limited nature of the body gets superimposed on me. This is called anya anyo adhyas, mutual superimpositioning of jadavastu onto chetana-vastu, and the chetana-vastu onto jada-vastu, and born out of that is aham and mama, that this is mine. This is aham, I am. Not only am I, but mama iti, this body is mine. And prathitam shariraha, in this way, this is expressed with this sthula sharir. I-ness and minus is born out of mutual superimpositioning of the jadavastu and the chetana-vastu, and the experience is, oh, if the body is fat, I am fat. If the body is hungry, I am hungry. Etc., etc. All of these, whatever the sthula sharira goes through, I own it up, and that is the source of mamakar. It is mine. And then hankar, if somebody says something to the body, but I have assumed that the body is me, so they are saying to me. And now, few words that they call this body, Gurudev used to say, Arey, the body is called donkey. Are you called donkey? Gurudev used to say, just turn around and look in the back. You don't have a tail. Why are you worried about it? So, this is aham mama. If that clarity of understanding is not there, few words of insult can spring forth into a big fight. And this is what aham mama prathitam shariraha, it is expressed in this body. Mohaspadam, it is a seat of delusion. It deludes us because this mutual superimpositioning is happening every waking moment, and we have taken it for real, and this is mohaspadam. It is a seat of complete delusion. Sthulam iti iryate. Sthulam iti iryate, it is considered to be sthul, gross body, and by wise people, this is what it is considered. And then, in the essence, when we say that the body going from the marrow, the bones, the fat, the flesh, blood, then dermis and epidermis, the sapta dhatu, when it is talked about, bhumaya, none other than earth. Maya, mayat pratyaya, meaning filled with it. So, nabhamaya, nabhasvatmaya, dahanamaya, ambumaya, bhumaya, and in this way, all these 7 elements have gone into creating this body. The sapta dhatus are rising from what? Where does the marrow come from? Where does the asti, bones, come from? Meda majja, the fat and flesh, where does that come from? Rakta, where does that come from? Etc. All of these, where do they come from? So, from these 5 elements, sukshmani bhutani bhavantitani. These elements, sukshmani, these subtle elements, they contribute to this very body itself. And in this way, this is how the body is created. Continuing the next shloka. Parasparam shailmititani bhutva sthulani cha sthula sharira hetavaha matrastadiya vishaya bhavanti shabdadaya pancha sukhaya bhoktuhu. So, parasparam shair militani bhutva. So, these 5 elements, what is talked about over here is the 5 elements in their rudimentary state. They go through panchikaranam, is what is explained over here. And there is a diagram over here which you can use to understand. Puja Gurudev has given that in the initial stage, each one of these tanmatras, as they are called, the tanmatras, they divide themselves into exact half. And then one half remains intact and the other half again goes through 4 4 exact divisions. And what happens is the half of the Tanmatra remains, and the other 4 parts, if it is space, then it will distribute the 4 parts to the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. And for the other half, it will take 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 from each one of them. 1/8 will be taken from each one of them. And in this way, this mutual combination of each one of them creates the Sthula Sharira, and at the same time, the subtle amsha of each one of them gives rise to the Indriya, the Jnanendriyani, the Karmendriyani. All of this are born out of it, having united with the parts of one another. They become gross and become the cause of the formation of this Sthula Sharir. It says, Parasparam Shailmitiyani Bhutva Sthulani cha Sukshma Sthulani cha Sthula Sharira Hetavaha. So, the gross aspect of the body is born out of it. But matras tadiya vishaya bhavanti. And not only that, but the body is made up of it, but also the objective world of objects which the subject perceives through the body is also made up of the same. Shabdadayaha pancha sukhaya bhoktruhu. And Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, etc. The very hearing, the seeing of the form, the tasting, color and form, touching, smelling, tasting, all of these 5 senses of perception, they are also born out of it. In this way, their subtle essence constitutes to the sense objects, 5 in number, such as Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha is what is talked about, and this becomes a counter bhoga ayatanam. It becomes a counter for the jiva to experience all the experiences. In this way, Panchikaranam is talked about. This Panchikaranam becomes, in this way, the source of the very jiva's experience. So that is talked about. Nothing more to Panchikaranam. It is all explained over here. It is how the first aspect is none other than the gross body is born. Then with the Rajoguna aspect, when we study Tattva Bodh, Shankaracharya ji has explained in great details. The Antakarana is born out of the Sattvic Amsha of the Tanmatras. The Rajoguna aspect of it, the Indriyas are born. And then the Tamoguna aspect of it, the Sthula Sharira is born. In this way, but that is all not mentioned over here. But in Tattva Bodh, Atma Bodh, in those textbooks, this Panchikaranam is taken in a very deep aspect. Continuing, number 75. Ya eshu mudha vishayeshu baddha rago rupashena sudurdamena ayanti niryatyad urdhva muchaihi Swakarma dutena javena nitaha. So Shankaracharya ji just in two shlokas he finishes off Panchikaranam, but he has taken in great detail in others. So he continues and he says, Yaha, whosoever, eshu mudha vishayeshu baddhaha bhavanti. Eshu, these sthul, eshu, all of the sthula sharira and the objects which are perceived with the sthula sharira, all of the mudhaha, people who have not really inquired into the very origin of this sthula sharira, this jiva, those who have not done much examination. So thoughtless men over here is what Gurudev refers to, meaning the ones who have not studied. Vishayeshu baddhaha. Vishayeshu, the objects become the source of bondage. Ragaha, rago rupashena. Ragaha, intense likes and dislikes by this great ropes of attachment. Ragaha rupashena. These rago rupashena, pash is none other than these ropes of attachment. All of this sudardamena, very difficult to break asunder. Ayanti niryati. Ayanti niryanti. Ayanti, we are born. Niryanti, we pass on. Adaha, adaha, below. Urdhvam, up. And over here, swakarma dutena javena nitaha, by one's own swakarma, by one's own karmic debt, javena, with a very great force of the karmic debt, nitaha, we are led. Where are we led? We are led to birth. Over here, ayanti, we arise. Niryanti, we disappear. Urdhva, adaha, adha, below. Urdhva, higher. So the lower worlds and the higher worlds, all of them, and continuously going, taking birth and passing on and taking birth and then perishing in various worlds, not just this world, in various worlds we enter and then we leave. And in this way, there are so many lokas. And even in this loka, there are so many different yonis that the jiva can enter. Billions and trillions of yonis. So, all of this jiva gets bound. Yaha esha modaha visheshu baddhaha. With this understanding, this jiva gets bound by vishayeshu, by none other than these sense objects. Everywhere a body is created. In the higher world, the subtlety of the body is so much that subtle experiences can be enjoyed. So, in this way, but nonetheless, it is an enjoyment. Only with a yantra, with a ignorance can be experienced. When we talk about Gandharva Loka, very subtle joy is born out of some raga, tala, nrutya, etc. So, this ear is only capable of hearing and understanding whatever ragas are possible on this Bhuloka. But imagine in the Gandharva Loka, the equipment itself is so subtle, so many subtle ragas will be there. So many forms of joys and enjoyments are available, and they are still objects of enjoyment, objects of perception, and that is a cause of Vishayeshu Baddhaha. Person gets bound. Rago Rupashena, out of attachment to enjoyment of all these various enjoyment, Sudurdamena, with very strong winds of passion which blows us here and there. In this way we go behind the winds of passion which run behind sense objects, and we get bound over there. That is the whole story of the jiva is talked about over here. But body is the source of where experiences are located. That is what is to be understood. Without an equipment, without karya karana sanghat, it is called in the language of the scriptures, born out of, what is this over here, that swakarma dutena, by one's own karmic debt, a right body is created. If the experiences which are noted as a vasanas that a person wants to repeat, then such an equipment will be created for those vasanas to be exhausted. So over here when it is said, Javena Nitaha, with the force of these vasanas, it will be led to the creation of a particular body for a particular enjoyment. Such is the autobiography of various jivas. We look at a cockroach yoni. Why would it be created? Imagine there are jivas who have a desire to be in gutter. Why are yonis like ferocious cats created? There is a desire to be ferocious. If we in human birth don't exhaust this with proper understanding, not by acting upon it, by sublimating it in our understanding and jnanam, we will also become that then. Every single yoni which exists, it was demanded by the karma dutena. That is a fact. By the messengers of our own karmic debt, nobody else has created these karma doots. We have created. The Yama Parshadas are not forcing us over there. They make sure that now that we have a desire, we remain over there. So their job is to, over here, ayanti niryati. They will open up the door for the entry and they will close the door when these desires are over. That's the job of Yamadutas. They don't force us into going anywhere. They just open it as per our own swakarma dutena. This is to be clearly understood. And only when we understand it, we can stand up for appropriate experiences. And if a vasana is inappropriate, I can burn it in the very fire of my understanding, born out of knowledge. This is to be done. Clearly, it is to be done. So that is sthula sharira. Now, Sthula Sharira is exposed to what? Is exposed to the world of objects. So the world of objects now sends objects. A trap is the next section, 76 to 82. A man which is bound in these trap doors created by sense objects. Shabdadidit pancha vireva pancha panchatvamapu swagunena baddhaha kuranga matanga patanga mina brunganara pancha viranchita kim. Oh, what observation Shankaracharya ji has had of all of these various yonis. He has taken 5 particular yonis over here, and one which he has taken, Kuranga deer, Matanga is none other than elephant, Patanga moth, then Meena is fish, and Brungaha is bumblebees or honeybees. So he's taken each one of these, and when we look at deer is known for its extreme chanchalatva. The ears are continuously picking up the most finer sounds created in the pastures there where it is grazing. It can even pick up the slithering of a snake, a cat which is on a prowl to catch it. Then elephant, Matanga, the elephants live in a society, in a group, and they are always rubbing their skin against one another, especially the male with the female. They remain together during the mating times and they're continuously feeling each other. So Shabda, now Sparsha. Shabda is for the deer. One sense is extremely heightened in a deer, the hearing faculty. Then Matanga, Sparsha, the very touch is extremely heightened in the elephant, and it is bound by that. Not only that, there are certain sounds. I only talked about the deer which is going in search of the being alert with the sounds around it, but the pleasing sounds it hears, it goes towards it as well, and it gets bound by those. So Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga moth. The night time when you turn on the lights, you can see so many moths come over there. It has a desire to go towards light, and actually we use the weakness of that moth to even create these electric lights where the poor moth will go towards, only to realize that it is an electrically charged light which will burn it and it will meet its death. The elephant, the trap is created. The person will dig and they will put a big hole, cover it with grass, and a tame elephant is put on the other side, and that male elephant comes towards it to touch it, and it will fall. Some sounds are created by hunters and the deer running into the direction of the sound, and it loses its life. So over here, various traps by Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa is talked about. And then Meenaha, mean none other than fish. It is continuously wanting to eat, to go towards the source. There are various different species in the ocean. They will have a worm-like tail which they will dangle, and the fish comes to eat it, only to realize it is a death trap of another fish, another creature in the ocean, and the fish also is dying. And Brungaha, the honeybees, running after the very smell and taste. So going from one place to the other place. So Shabdadi Panchabihi eva pancha panchatva mapuhu swagunena baddhaha, by these one's own gunas, these animals are bound. Shabdadi bihi, by sound, etc. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, etc. Panchabihi, these five. Eva Panchatvam, these five elements create apuhu, they meet death. In the same way, over here then Shankaracharya ji says, Naraha Panchabihi Anjitaha Kim, a human being where each one of these five senses are extremely heightened. The rhetorical question is put, Kim, what is to be done? What is the fate of a human being where each one of the five senses are heightened? The people are so hooked onto the earphones and listening, and then they have the phone that they are continuously, the color and form, the music is all heightened up, and they are going for a walk only to run into a giant wall. There are people while walking, walk into a street not realizing the attention is looted away by some music, by the distraction of the phone, whatnot, and the person gets into accident. There are signs everywhere, do not drive and text at the same time. Because a human being, all five senses are, the cars are equipped with horns, but the music is so loud that even the car driving in the next lane honks us to warn us, you come into mine. But we miss it because the music is so loud in the car, etc. You know the story of the entrapment created by the five senses. So that is what Shankaracharya ji is saying. Doshena tivro vishayaha Krishna sarpa vishadapi Visham nihanti bhoktaram drashtaram chakshushapyayam. Again, another beautiful example. Shankaracharya ji is saying, Vishayaha Krishna sarpa visha. So, the Krishna sarpa is none other than cobra. A black snake, a cobra, the Indian cobra. So, Vishayaha doshena tivraha. The sense objects are smitten with the defect of poison, like cobra. Krishna sarpa vishadapi. So, just like the poison of a cobra, Visham nihanti bhoktaram. But the cobra kills only the animal that it has bit. Whatever the cobra bites, only that animal dies. But Shankaracharya ji says, but the sense objects over here, drashtaram chakshusha is enough. The sight of the sense objects is enough to destroy us. That's it. Because the minute the eye falls upon the world of objects, desires arise. And we go towards the sense object. And that's enough to destroy us. That is what is mentioned over here, that the sense objects, seeing itself, will destroy us. Versus, Krishna Sarpa, Vishadapi, Visham Nihanti Bhoktaram. Only the one who has consumed Bhoktaram, not the enjoy, but the one who is a victim over here. The one who is a victim of the cobra bite. Poor thing, the person, that animal, whatever it is, a person, animal, it perishes. The poison takes over the body, and that's it. The onlooker who sees the cobra biting someone goes over there to help out. By the time the person is taken to the hospital, the poison has done its job, and the person loses life. This is an example over here talked about. Continuing, Vishaya Shahamo Vishaya Shaha Pashadyoho Vimukta Sudu Styajat Sa eva kalpate muktaihi nanyashat shastra vedyapi. Yaha, whoever, sudus, whoever over here, sudustyajat, the one which is very difficult to renounce, Vishayaha, the sense object, Asha Mahapashat, the sense objects, Asha, the very binding ropes of desire, Asha, Mahapasha, the very binding ropes, Vimuktaha Saha Eva Kalpate Muktaihi, the one who is capable of dissolving these bondages born out of sense objects. Only the one who is capable of giving up the sense objects, only such a person, Vimuktaihi. Na anya shat shastra vedyapi. Even if one has studied all 6 different philosophies, whatnot, it doesn't matter. Our scholarliness, the erudite scholarliness of buddhi, it does nothing if the antakarana is still ladled with all different types of desires. That is what is said over here. He who has liberated himself from these Vishaya, Asha, Maha, Pashaha, Vimuktaha, the one who is liberated from this, which is very difficult to give up. Su Dustyajat, which is difficult to give up. Sa Eva, he alone is liberated. But the other one who has not been able to liberate themselves from the very great ropes of sense objects, any type of studies, any type of scholarliness, it doesn't help. Gurudev used to say that many people who teach Vedanta in universities and in Kashi and all these places, but only the one who has integrated their antakarana properly, the inner equipment, has sadhan chatushtaya sampanna adhikari. Only such a person benefits, but the others who have scholarliness but have not risen above the sense objects, very difficult for them to come out of it. So we will continue tomorrow. We'll continue. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti.